I know you, telling me about your sore back, tight shoulders, hips all locked up, saying you're gonna stretch every night and you're gonna feel better. Well, if you're like my cameraman and won't take the time to use a simple band to stretch for 5 minutes, then what are you gonna do? I can only make it so easy. We're gonna go 5 motions to stretch all of our lower body. We wanna make this really comprehensive, but also very simple, utilizing the same principles that we use with the band. Up, out, across, in, and over. Going up, we're going out to our hamstrings, out, continuing to the middle of our hamstrings and even our groin here. Next up, the butterfly stretch, keeping a strong, tall posture for your inner thigh, as well as your groin and hamstrings. Over the top for your glutes and posterior hip here. And then last but not least, the quadricep stretch, holding it back here, sitting back. Those are the 5 basic stretches that'll hit all of the major muscle groups in your lower body. Now, if you want to start targeting things a little bit more in isolation, then we have a couple extra stretches that you can utilize to get a little bit more benefit and a little bit more target in those muscle groups. So some of the other muscle groups that we'd like to hit here, we can combine this hamstring with this leg in and then twist to get some more of our lat, but also some of these lower back muscles that are involved in the rotation of those hips. Next, your hip is a ball and socket joint that rotates. So we want to be able to rotate in both directions. Now this stretch called the hurdler enables you to get some of that internal rotation of your hip, which really feels good in your groin as well as your glute. Now if we want to keep working on that hip, a good way to go here is by leaning back, pulling your shin towards you gently, pushing out towards your knee, and sitting down into this stretch. So those stretches will work some of the deeper hip muscles and the rotators of the hip. But in order to get the hip flexor, it's a little bit more difficult. So we gotta take a nice strong lunge position here, strong posture, and then hip forward into this. Now to intensify the stretch and work more of your quadricep, you're gonna wanna reach back here and pull. Be gentle, because your limitation is a combination of both your quadricep flexibility and your hip flexor flexibility. So find that balance between both the knee and the hip joint and how you lunge forward to create that stretch. Last but not least, we really want to stretch our feet and our ankles. So in order to do so, a simple stretch for our feet is just coming back like this and sitting down onto the back of sitting back onto our toes here. Make sure they're folded under. And then to work more of your ankle and your shin, and your calves, work up into this position here, sit back into that, and even come over the top with your foot to intensify that stretch. Now, I know what you're thinking. Gee, Morgan, that's a whole lot of stretches. I ain't got time for all that. Well, I'll tell you what. I gave you 5. You spend 30 seconds on each one. And then if you're feeling a little extra tight, you can throw one of those extras into the mix to just kind of work on the spots that you need the most. It's not too hard. It's not too much to ask. And if you're hurting, you ought to do it anyways. So get stretching. Have a good day.